Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Glad to have you here. Well, a bit of cheering news in the sense that the security challenges up and down the country, pretty much a headache, not just to the guys in charge, not just to the military, but even to us. Now the president has said that our security solutions are actually going to be able to stand the test of time. And this was said after a meeting that included service chiefs. So what more do you want? Okay, it's good to hear, but of course there's always sort of a working before you get to the answer. And not being in there, number one is cheering news. Well, let me find out from my guest this morning how cheering they think that news actually is. Dr. Amadeli Boyo, actually we were having a joke before going on here. We should be calling him Mr. Amadeli Boyo because the man is a surgeon and surgeons are called Mr. But in Nigeria you will be sued if you call a surgeon a Mr. Is that not so, Dr. Boyo?
Yes, I am a medical practitioner.
Thank you very much for coming, Dr. Boyo. And he's also a social commentator. And Colonel Hassan Stanlabo, retired, our dear friend, security consultant. Thank you very much as always. You know how I described you before coming on air. I'm not going to repeat it on air, but great to have you with us.
My pleasure.
Now, this whole security thing, let me start with you, Colonel.
Yes, please.
It's cheering news, you know, to the non-professionals. But what does it mean? You know the cliche, not yet Uhuru. So is it indeed Uhuru? Now that we have the presidency, you know, asserting as much as this. I was hearing a military chief yesterday on television, apart from this subject, saying, look, Boko Haram is not just on the back foot. It's actually being flushed out of Sambisa, and our boys in uniform have taken over that whole place, and they're chasing them, and it doesn't matter where they run to, we shall continue to pursue them so that there is no, you think of Boko Haram as something of yesterday. Yeah, we have to say those words, but give me your impression.
Yes, Yori, thanks so much, Mosso, for having me here. As far as the Northeast is concerned, I think we can say we have a success story there. When I say we as a nation, okay? So, and I don't want us to be carried away. The more we continue to gauge our security success story based just on the Northeast, I would say we lose it. Lose it because I feel, look, we've done well in the Northeast. Okay. Can we begin to address other elements of our security challenges and see how we are faring there so that the high score in the Northeast does not obliterate the terrible situation we are faced with.
Okay.
Having said that, Yori, fine. I'm so impressed to have that conference or the summit, and also that's the summit from the which the Senate or the Congress put in place or just organized. And I'm impressed too that the president only yesterday was able to meet with the service chiefs and some other very important key personalities in the presidency. But I think all this shouldn't stop there. I want a situation where we begin to get the Congress to look seriously into the Constitution, because facing it, Yori, the bulk of the issues so far now that face us would require some rejigging of the Constitution to see how, to a greater extent, we can bring certain aspects of our security into the concurrent lists to allow for the emergence of things like state policing, which will give a better vent, to how we address some of the issues on ground. I am saying this informed or coming from the perspective that, look, we have other challenges with our security agencies as they are now, the structure itself. One, we have manpower issues, both with the police and even the military. And the manpower issue, which is so severe with the police, has made us at times to want to quickly draft, the military into playing first-line security role.
Yeah, some sort of a joint force with the police.
Yes, which ordinarily should come only when the police has been overwhelmed.
Okay.
In the case of, for instance...
Which indeed has happened to be the case.
Yes, of course.
On a number of occasions.
Yes, I agree with you, but it's important to look at what the statutory provisions are. You bring them in only when the police has been overwhelmed. In the case of Taraba and Benue, for instance, okay, I think we all agree the police has been overwhelmed and there was a need for the military to be moved in. But I know we've also had situations where it's not that the police was overwhelmed, but the police had manpower issues. And so, to save lives and property, government was on its own compelled to bring in any available force to take care of the situation.
That is depleting from the very similar problem that also exists in the military.
Yes,
it's just that they have a totally different aspect of training and indeed responsibility.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Boyo, give me your impressions on what this means for us. Maybe pretty much similar question. Your take on, we're nearing Uhuru. We're not quite there yet, but would that be your perception as well?
Far from it.
Oh dear, far from it.
I would say too little, too late. Because frankly speaking, if you watch the news after the service chiefs meeting with the president, people kept mute. The press corps was trying to get information. How did it go? How did it go? In fact, one of the attendees just did like this, as if I will not tell you anything. So maybe they have something in place they don't want the public to know about. But the point here is that the government doesn't engage civil society and doesn't engage the people. Most of
sorry, sir. That whole business about not being able to get anything from people who came out of that security meeting, that's not exactly unusual or surprising.
But then what
it's not unusual or surprising. This is what happens all over the world.
A simple statement like we're on top of the situation,
which is what the president said.
We can assure you that in the next 2 weeks, you know, we're going to have peace everywhere. Let me tell you, the two key issues here, the militancy in the Niger Delta and the Fulani headsmen. Now, can you come out straight and say the Fulani headsmen have overstepped their bounds? And we're going to deal with them. Anybody who is carrying AK-47 and is a herdsman is running foul of the law. Yeah, and we're going to deal with them.
But all that has come out, that the president has asserted that all of those chaps, all of those people arrested with arms will be prosecuted. Make no mistake about it.
And let's get their names. So what I'm driving at now is, when I say too little, too late, he mentions state police. Good. Okay. Even if you have state police, you still have a federal police force that will be taking care of some responsibilities.
Sure.
And now, even without the state police, the state governor is the chief security officer of the state. The inspector general the commissioner of police in the state, works with the governor of the state. The states can draw laws against movements, can put in place a curfew, can talk about grazing or no grazing, colony or no colonies. The state as the House of Assembly can take decisions on that. And the governors of the states have been weak with regards to getting the police force to do their job. And that's why he said the police has been outnumbered. The police will be outnumbered when a quarter of the police force is taking care of the top and the rich. Yeah. So at the end of the day, the available policemen to take care of the common man is depleted.
You know, although it's a very tiny point perhaps, but you see a lot of celebrities who are able to pay for police protection and police services. I know it's a tiny, teeny, weeny little thing, but every last one matters now. So if you're complaining that we have a challenge, I don't know, I suppose, I don't know, maybe police...
No, but there's a lot of money in it. There's a lot of money in it. And let's not go there. But what I'm driving at now is that if wherever in the world they are faced with security emergencies, you withdraw, even you call up reserves of the army that are on the sideline. You call them up to active service. When you have such a security demand, it's not the time. It's the time to call back those that are serving celebrities and tell them to report for work. There's an emergency. This is not the time to begin to give every local government chairman has not less than 5 security details, DSS, policemen, MOPOL, and at home again you have MOPOL in the office. You have MOPOL. You have 3 escorts. 2, one in front, 1 at the back, all with policemen. By the time you come down, see all of them gun-toting men. At the end of the day, the policemen available for day-to-day security is diminished. Then I may take the next point, which is the fact of surveillance and intelligence. We don't just talk about military helping the police. The basic thing is that when people cross the border, that's immigration and customs.
Yes, they were at the meeting too.
Yes, they are at the meeting too.
The chiefs were at that meeting too.
People now, when you cross from Kano, cross Kaduna, cross Abuja, cross Kogi, enter your state, why didn't people see you? Why do people see you? It's intelligence. These people, and for instance, all these grazing routes, they have routes. The cows don't go on the expressway. They have paths that they take. The simple truth there is that our policemen, the intelligence network, vis-a-vis across state lines, which comes in again, even if you have state police, there's a place where the federal police will have to do things when they are outside city limits, outside state limits. There must be a coordination between Oyo State. Now, if herdsmen come all the way to reach Ogun State, they pass through somewhere. Were those policemen not alert of the movement of these people?
Okay, I hear you. And yeah, these are things that we have been saying. But, Colonel, the point he made about in sort of expatiating a bit on too little, too late. Look, I think he said, why can't we just call a spade in relation to the law being broken by Fulani herdsmen? And, well, I'm sure Dr. Boye himself also realizes that it's not quite as simple as all of that. As somebody was sort of, opining on our program yesterday that this is a delicate issue. There is no doubt that there are infringements against the law. And wanting to, I don't know, this is part of the challenge. But it could become a mess. Agbekoya the other day said that, look, you know what, if it looks like we won't be getting any help, then we shall help ourselves. I think the Arion Okakamfu of Yoruba land, which, as you know, is a generalissimo, has said that we shall not be idle ourselves. So you probably don't want all of these kind of scenarios.
Thank you, Yori. You see, I've always said, look, our problem is not actually democracy. In this country, our problem has been that of leadership and governance. Call it poor governance, call it lack of competence in leadership, and so on, whatever the definitions you want to give it. And when we say leadership, in most cases, people just think you are referring to the president. I'm talking about leadership. It cuts across. We are all leaders. You see, I have seen some individuals or agencies around the president or around the presidency sending out the wrong signals.
Okay.
Which has not been helping the situation on ground.
Okay, what kind of
I will just cite one
okay.
as an example.
Okay.
The recent report from the DSS talking about elements of ISIS in Nigeria committing all these atrocities. When I heard it, instantly I said, no, this is armchair intelligence. Simple. Go out into the field and get report for us. The guys who are carrying out all these attacks on ground do not exhibit the tactics, techniques, and procedures of ISIS. And what do I mean? ISIS does not engage in discriminatory killings. Neither do they engage in any form of selective killings. They go all out like Boko Haram, killing along their way.
Earth.
Thank you, sir. Irrespective of whether you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, you are a farmer, or you are a herdsman, they go killing. But that is not what we are witnessing on ground.
Okay, but
we are seeing discriminatory and selective killings.
Okay, interesting point, Colonel. But when you say that, because the intelligence community is a professional community,
right?
I would be hesitant to call anything they say armchair intelligence.
I was coming to that, Yori. For the informed mind, I would disagree with them. For the uninformed mind, you are likely to take hook, line, and sinker, whatever you hear from them.
Because they're the authority there.
Yes.
They're the authority when it comes to intelligence.
I'm not contesting their authority.
Okay.
I am saying for the informed mind.
But how about the capability? Are they just being, derelict in their duty? What is the word?
That's where I'm coming to. We have got the manpower. I don't look down on our DSS. Okay. They are sound.
Okay.
And that's why I feel bad that you are giving me armchair intelligence.
All right.
When I know you have the capabilities to go out there.
But it is only you that feel that for the moment, it's an opinion.
I'm entitled to my personal opinion.
Yes, I'm just establishing that it is an opinion.
It's my opinion. I'm not generalizing it.
Okay.
I'm only voicing out my opinion.
The way you,
look, I don't think I agree with this.
And you're not a casual observer. So
No.
Yes.
No,
yes.
I am not. That's why I'm calling myself an informed mind. I'm looking at it from a professional angle.
But wouldn't these kind of points, issues, you spoke about the Constitution needing to be amended. Dr. Boyo spoke about laws also needing to be, engaged in order to do certain sorts of things. Are you also of the mind that if we don't tinker with the Constitution, so to speak, we're not going to be able to get any joy out of this exercise? Do you think that?
Especially where it concerns the devolution of powers to the states in respect of security. You cannot establish state police if you don't bring certain aspects of your security into the concurrent list.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Do you agree with me, sir?
yeah, I agree with that. The point is
Yes.
that to tinker with the Constitution is a whole lot. It takes
is.
a lot.
It's a big
but
deal.
while we are here now, the things on the ground
What can be
better
done with it,
For instance, now,
such
you
as it is?
mentioned the fact that those down the line, they are sending conflicting signals. Like the Chief of Defense Staff that went on air the other day to castigate the Benue State government.
Okay.
And then made some inflammatory statements that made the people of Benue State angry. The point is, if you don't know, don't talk.
That's it.
And if you know and you have information you don't want to divulge, then keep quiet. But don't come out and begin to say things that can inflame people.
Yes.
For instance, now, give these headsmen a name. We call the Niger Delta uprising, we call them militants. And they were prescribed. And people are working on it. Is Miyetti Allah responsible? They have their president, they have their secretary, can't you hold a meeting with them and arrive at the fact that call your men to order? We give you 2 weeks ultimatum, or we'll descend on them. These bandits, just like how they prescribed the IPOB. By now, yeah, I mean, Allah should be prescribed. And if it's not prescribed, the executive will be arrested, taken to DSS camp, and they should be quizzed and find out from them. If you put them under interrogation, they will talk. Is there a plan by Miyetti Allah, the Cattle Rearers Association?
That's what it is. The Cattle Rearers Association, which ordinarily is not, an illegal body.
Yeah, but
it's
then,
not an illegal body.
if
It's not like
if you
IPOB,
have-
for example, where you hear the independent people's, the Constitution, that is alien to the Constitution.
That's what you think. But over the years, they've had calls in public fora to express themselves in support of the headsmen. And they've even said that even the anti-grazing laws of Benue State instigated the headsmen. These are the things I'm saying. Now, if you can say that about a law duly promulgated by a lawful constitutional assembly, you should be brought up and be told, oh, so you really did this, then you have to interrogate them to find out what their next plans are. These things are not just out of
And
the
how we
blues.
can take this problem out, because part of the issue...
You have to nip it in the bud. But
Well,
intelligence will know where they are gathering, intelligence will know where they are gathering, and frustrate their plans. Before they get anywhere, pick up, I remember those days of student union radicalism in the 70s. They just pick up all the president of all the student union groups on campus, close down some troublesome universities, and teach people a lesson, rusticate some people. Silence will prevail. Can't you do something to these cattle rearers? Pick up their president, pick up the secretary, pick up the executive, and talk to them. Put your men in order in 2 weeks, or else we'll clamp you into, bring out the law proscribing you, charge you to court, find you guilty. And there are people, have you noticed that 70 people were killed in Benue? They've not arrested, they've not been able to prosecute 10 people. Even if you don't prosecute them, that's why you have Guantanamo Bay. All those people that were suspected to be in the ISIS forefront are taken there to be interrogated. By the time you do waterboarding, you would tell the truth.
Guantanamo Bay is a very, 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 very controversial institution.
Yeah, but we have the likes. Do you know that? Do you know what they said now? Those people that were picked up from Boko Haram are being taken to Kainji Detention Center to be interrogated. There's a Kainji Detention Center in Nigeria. I don't mean they should be killed. I don't mean you torture. But there's a way you can interrogate somebody that you threaten the person. The person will open up and tell you their plans to overrun Nigeria. And then you now go to the various camps where they are in this country, begin to nip them. That's how ISIS was defeated.
I hear you, but and I know this is a very, very impassioned subject matter. I know, and also very, very sensitive.
Remember what led to this? What led to this? And I'm saying that having a meeting with service chiefs is not enough. The service chiefs have the intelligence. There's police intelligence. There's director of military intelligence. Within the army, there's military police. Navy has its intelligence. Air Force has intelligence. The DSS is there. CID is there. All these people should bring their intelligence up.
Meeting with that whole community, that whole security committee, which it just had everybody in it. It had immigration service, it had customs service, fire service, Federal Road Safety Corps, prisons, everybody.
They just drank tea.
Well,
those things are things that you have the chief security officer that gives
all the solutions that the president was saying will now stand the test of time.
Security officer of the country. What's his name? What's he called? Guazo was there. What's the name? Directorate of what?
the office of the CSO.
Yes, that's CSO,
yes,
security.
Chief Security Officer.
Somebody in the country who all these people report to. Even the defense intelligence, they all sit down. They have intelligence meetings every week.
You are referring to the NSA's
Yeah, National Security Advisor.
Thank you.
National Security Advisor has enough information for us to act. All these meetings with all these big men, do you think that just drink tea and give them instruction, get these people rounded up in 2 weeks? Whereas available intelligence on the ground is enough for us to route out these people in 14 days.
Okay.
This is not in Sambisa Forest.
Okay.
They're in Oyo State, they're in Benue State, they're everywhere. And we're holding a meeting in Abuja to discuss what now?
To
That's why I
coordinate.
said too late.
Okay, to coordinate all of these solutions.
I just want to respond to that.
Sure,
aspect.
sure, I'd love you to.
Frankly speaking, I wouldn't see that meeting with the president has been
A frivolous one.
Think they didn't drink tea there?
Not a frivolous meeting.
Normally, tea.
The point
If
is
you
that
already had given us tea here,
you'll be
When you
drinking.
give us tea,
Then
that's
they'll
how we
say-
can talk like this.
Then they
There's a
say
thing
Ahmad
with
Ali and Hassan. They were
thing
just sitting there
Don't
drinking.
forget
Yes.
what to do, all right?
the fact is that it goes a long way in letting the service chiefs and all the security agencies know that, look, as the president, I am the commander-in-chief, and I'm stamping my authority on this issue. And it avails him an opportunity to be specific to them. I want this thing quelled down. Go out there and do something reasonable. Because we must be frank, I think by now, the presidency, I'm not saying the president, the presidency should be becoming embarrassed with the security situation.
And that's why I come in,
Because
sir.
we, the
After
people, are.
9/11,
Because we, the people.
After 9/11, that day of 9/11, George Bush spoke to the country and said, we are going to get them.
Yep.
We will take the war to them and we'll get them. The president should address the country and say this attack by Fulani headsmen.
That is President Bush. That's his
Sorry,
style.
are you a Fulani?
This is President Buhari, and he has his
But
style.
then
Every
the
command
country is
has got
waiting.
its own style.
The country
every
is-
commander
the
has his
country-
own
The country is
style.
on edge.
I know.
Address us and tell us that one,
But you have to
know
be
that these
fair.
people are Fulani headsmen. You know that they could be terrorists. Maybe they could be just pretending to be Fulani headsmen. They are not really Fulani headsmen. Come and address the country 30 minutes and give us the assurance that in 48 hours, you will never hear of this again. And you go back and hold your meetings. Don't keep us in suspense. Since last year, people are being killed. All we are hearing is that you're holding meeting, you're holding meeting, you're holding meeting.
No, I think the president has spoken out.
Yes.
What did he say?
Wait now, Ahmad Ali, let someone else speak now. We're coming back to you. We're not gagging you in any way, shape, or form. Yes.
I think the president has spoken on the issue. All right? It's not until he comes out on a formal national address to address us. The president has spoken through his spokesman. He has spoken at several fora and so on. Even the meeting we are talking about, you had all what he said. We read them in the papers and so on.
So we
You see, to a greater
know
extent,
what's going on.
Now we are beginning to say, yes, you have started speaking on this issue. Can you now add some action to it?
Yeah.
We want to see action
Yeah.
now. But it's not whether the president has spoken or not. I think to me he has spoken enough.
And that meeting, well, without
Yes.
prejudice to Ahmad Ali's impression, it was not a frivolous meeting.
It wasn't. That meeting wasn't a frivolous
but
meeting.
without prejudice to the way you see it.
Frankly, that meeting was I mean,
Because people are wanting some sort of a response.
Yes.
Because the president has been heavily criticized for...
Are you
so
comforted
much.
by this speech? Are you comforted?
Well, it's...
As Yori Folan, are you comforted?
It's better than
nothing.
Than nothing.
In political
And having the
era.
impression that I don't know what we're about.
This man has an opposition party on his neck. This man has a lot of situations on his neck. The more you talk, the more you calm people's readiness and come out straight and do things. People, do you read the fake news or maybe they're all imaginations about don't travel to Benin, the Benin Shagamu Expressway headsmen? Have you read all those things? The best way out is for Mr. President to do more, both by talking and by acting. Round up like 20 Fulani headsmen, charge them to court, find them guilty, sentence them to jail. People will know.
Okay,
that
the Fulani herdsman is a thing with you because you asked me just the rhetorical question, are you a Fulani herdsman? But that's because we're trying to put these issues in perspective.
So you heard that?
Yeah.
Of course I heard it. You're trying to put these issues in perspective.
Yeah.
In fact, nowadays, people are sort of being a bit discreet, and I see that in some reports they're dropping the word Fulani and just staying with headsmen.
Right.
There are people who insist on inject that word in there. But you see, at the end of the day, I think part of the whole problem is that, look, it's us. Although we also know that there's a complication of there being a lot of Fulanis that are not Nigerian.
Yes.
Yes,
sure.
so there's that other aspect to it. But But by and large, we are one, and there's that aspect of it. Because it's a way of life, is what one of the explanations that we have heard. It's a way of life that perhaps the herdsmen that are Fulani in Nigeria can't quite see it, and are saying that this is our way of life. You're trying to prevent me from being me.
What's a way of life?
Their nomadic, their nomadic attitude.
Yeah. You know, I disagree.
And the cost of this, wait a minute, the cost of this, getting from point A to point B, you know, causing...
It's your business life. You make money out of it. Sorry, sir. Okay. You make money out of this one.
You know what, guys? Give me
federal government...
Forgive me, guys. Okay. Please, I'm very, very sorry, because I've got to take Maxwell, who has called in from Temagana. You know, sorry about that. Good morning, Maxwell.
Good morning, Uncle Yore, and good morning, my Colonel and Doctor.
Yes. Thank you. Please go ahead.
I am surprised, you know. Anyway, I am not all that surprised with what the army has done at the Sambisa Forest, Camp Zero. You know, I commend them, but I just want them to consolidate on the successes that they have got right now. They should not relent. They should not even withdraw. They should not even think of leaving that particular place. It is a vital knock. In the army, we call it a serious knock against the Boko Haram. Now, the DSS report concerning the Fulanis, I just want to let people know, our police people went to United Nations Peacekeeping as observer groups. The soldiers went there, and they survived. They did everything prudently over there and was commended. How do you want to tell me that the police cannot, in Nigeria, find out who are the killer herdsmen? And we are using one brush to paint all, let me just say, everybody in Nigeria now is painting, you know, Fulani herdsmen, Fulani herdsmen. Mm-hmm. There is a killer militia section that is using those things to kill people in Nigeria. Why can't they find them? How? What is let me say, the area coverage of that particular place they are operating? They should find out and let Nigerians support them at least. At least there is so much, you know, anxiety, so much distrust, so much discord in the Nigerian society. Yeah. I pray that things will work out fine, in as much as they are trying their best, you know, to get things done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maxwell, for calling in. We'll address the point consolidation, but I've got to go to a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll continue. Stay with us, please. Welcome back, and sort of, you know, a reinvigoration, that's my terminology of the whole security apparatus, having met with the president, and the president, as it were, you know, just harmonizing, re-emphasizing and stating that, you know, borrowing from the other national expression we used to have, that this whole thing is a task that must be done, can be done is the implication. Because the president says our solutions are going to be standing the test of time. Now we go back to the whole Sambisa thing, where people say happily, that one we've got down pat. As I said, I heard a military, you know, man saying yesterday that they're running and we are pursuing. Running is not enough. Yeah. We will pursue until there's absolutely no chance that she come back. In fact,
we should pursue to the point of occupying part of Niger State, Niger Republic and Chad.
But that's not what we do. Nigeria doesn't do that.
No, we work with them and create a buffer zone. Okay. Create a buffer zone that will police by both our men and their men.
Okay.
Because our borders are very porous.
But no annexation. Okay. We don't do that.
We can start it.
Nigeria doesn't do that.
We can start it. Yeah, these are difficult times.
Non-territorial ambition.
Yes. Let me bring Musa in. Good morning, Musa.
Good morning, all.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. I am Samaila Musa Anka, calling from Zamfara State. Well, this very discussion I'm making, I feel I have an interest of giving my own contribution.
Sure.
It's all about national security and how it can be contained. My issue is that this very morning when I was watching AIT television, there was somebody there who was of the opinion that simply the cattle rustlers, or rather the planning headsmen, there is no way the government can take any action, any negative action against them or any measure against them to stop their issues, simply because most of the eminent personality, according to his own view, according to his own ideology, is that most of the eminent personality in the north are the real owners of those cattle that are being reared around those areas. That is why the people here in the north are all that interested in giving government support to take any action against those cattle rustlers, or rather herdsmen, which is a very blatant misrepresentation of justice. Let me tell you, people of my place here in the State, we are having similar problem of all these attacks. If you see how all these people are taking their, the actions within our own territory, killing people, abducting people, looking for ransom, and all those kind of issues. That even us, that, people are saying House of Fulani, but okay, we are House of Fulani. There is no way you can say Hausa without pulling Fulani together. We are together. Well, even within our domain here, those people are at the verge of discharging almost everybody. So on this basis, I am saying that we are really calling on the government. I know the government is intensifying efforts, but the problem is directly attached to the security architecture of this country. Could you imagine that in the whole population of this country, we can only count something like 300 and something policemen? We cannot even meet the international standard of policy. Look at in my area here, Uncle Local Government, the policemen are not even up to 100. Let me tell you, our population here is over 30,000. But the policemen that are permanently with us here to protect us and protect our property, let me just tell you this, that they are not even 100, including the outpost. So my advice to the government is that let's forget about anything. Those that are in charge of security operations in Nigeria did not meet the standard. I am talking of the standard in terms of number. So the government, we have to forget about anything. All this kind of Empower program, this program, they are not helping the situation. Security is much more important than whatever you can think of.
Okay.
So what I'm saying here is that instead of this issue of Empower program, instead of this issue of other programs, you see the money there are wasted. Let these people be recruited permanently.
Thank you very much for calling in. Really appreciate your call. I see that there were aspects of that you agree with. Now, first of all, because he said quite a number of things in there. The whole aspect of talking about raping and killing, abduction, ransom seeking, hardly the usual fare of cattle rearers. Hardly. This is not what they do. So, there has even government has said it, not that it was very popular when it was said that they're not even sure that all that is being called marauding herdsmen are indeed the accused Fulani herdsmen. Now, Mr. Musa here says that another point that is probably lost on a lot of people is that all those cattle and the herdsmen that are going up and down the place, the cattle don't actually, the stock doesn't actually belong to them. It belongs to, the
elites.
Yes, thank you. It belongs to the elites. And they take it from there.
I agree with him in total, and I know what I'm talking about. If I had bought into this idea of cattle rearing as a far younger officer, I think by now, on retirement, my heads could have gone to well over 500 by now. The point I'm trying to make is that the cattle we see all over the place 70 to 80% of them are owned by either retired generals and serving generals, permanent secretaries, ministers, members of the Nigerian Congress, both Senate and House of Rep. It is this elite amongst us that own 70 to 80% of this cattle. I know what I'm talking about.
Because animal husbandry is not
Thank you.
pure water business.
It doesn't take much to engage this, our Fulani brothers to take care of this cattle. In most cases, like the fellows who were trying to encourage me into it in the past, they tell you, look, you get 5, you give it to the man, you tell him whenever it gives birth, you are entitled to 1/3 of whatever he gives. So if he gives birth to, by the time he adds 3 cows to you, he is entitled to 1, and so on. And the guy does it so eagerly because he knows he's also growing his own herds.
Yes. And so this is the way
you
of
are not really
generating
paying
income.
anything besides maybe the veterinary care,
Okay.
the necessary injections that they require, and so on. So to go into that business is something which you just fold your arms and it's multiplying. Now, why is there so much opposition to it? Because now that there will be this close grazing arrangement,
Yes.
it calls for so much financial investment into it. You now have to start buying the fodder. You now have to make sure you get land. You can't just get 1 plot of land, for cattle. We are talking of hectares, and so on. So those who want to be opposed to it are feeling, why should I spend this much?
I see. I'm going to come back so you can continue that if there's more to do there, because Umar is waiting on, and I want to thank you, Umar, for holding on all that while. Good morning.
No problem, sir.
Good morning, Umar.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
Very, very well, thank you. Thank you for holding on. Please go ahead now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, I want to contribute on this issue. I think there's one fundamental misinformation with almost all the 1,000 people about what's happening in the North now. The killings in the North, you hear, it's not about Fulani herdsmen. And I also want to, first of all, begin by saying, we take effectively Fulani herdsmen. I'm sorry, let me use one example. Please forgive me. The first armed robbery in Nigeria was not a Fulani man. It was one tribe. There were shops. And later, there were robberies. But any robbery you find, you investigate based on what you find. Apart from that case, you know who is involved. But right now, almost all the southern papers, all the other press, Fulani has almost stereotyping and profiling all Fulanis. Very, very painful. But what's happening of more importance is the fact that this case is going up about now in the North, especially Benue and Taraba State. I don't know about Fulani happening. It's not even said about happening. It's by militia. If you look at from the beginning up to now, from the first day they did the killing in Numa, to today, no any issue. You don't have any issue between the tribes. The killing that happened in Mandela, where other people are killed, it's not about happening. It's not about happening. A group of tribes went and attacked one tribe and killed them. There's no happening. There's no happening there. This is sponsored by militia. And I just wish that before the press take that position.
What about the elite that own the cattle?
No, the issue is that when you haven't got me, the whole killing is not about cattle. It's not about cattle.
It isn't.
If you just, let me give you an example.
Okay.
As far back as last year in the TDC, one governor here in the North was saying the first time when he came to power, the first thing he did was to depose about 5 chiefs that they accommodated people from Zamfara, KB, and the rest of it. They are going to be terrorists. He deposed them and drove the people away. From that day, the police was like, about 10 kilometers out of Jalingo, before Jalingo, any vessel that came with these people from everything, he returned the vessel back, 10 people go back. You now have been hankering for state police, the state police governor. And this same governor has been known to along with his own member at that time, Bacha, Tribal Central, hankering for the government to recognize Tribal as a Boko Haram infested area, so as to get attention and be given additional security recognition. Locate somebody from Benue, a member from Benue, Senator, knock that one off. The issue is, this will have a purpose for what you like. Like we are hearing here, we are striking that we're hearing that other governors, the vice president, agree with the state police. You should give somebody who is hankering for state police in his own state. Those have done a single project. If you look at what we did against this strike, like for example now, the last attack you had here that happened in Taraba State, It's in one village, the TV name, in Gaso area. There is a single TV man in Taraba State.
Okay.
6 years back, when we were kids.
All right.
Single village.
Thank you very much for calling in. Really, really appreciate your call then.
Can I just round up?
Please.
You see, Yori, let's be very frank. You see, with every passing day, frankly speaking, as a nation, we are drifting into assured backwardness. Okay? It's time for us to begin to embrace modernity.
How do you mean
Globally,
about backwardness?
yes,
Oh, okay.
right.
Yeah, in relation to this,
In relation
the
to-
nomadic aspect of some of our nationals.
Yes. Globally, the in thing now, the practice as far as rearing of cattle is concerned, is this close grazing.
Yes.
All right? Look at, countries like Botswana. They've got even more cattle than their population.
I even understand that in Benin Republic here, it is much better organized.
Just next door, Benin Republic here, yes. I heard of that too. Okay? Most of these countries have embraced this close ranching option.
And so that's the way to go.
That
but
is
there's
the
so
way for
much
us to
pushback to it.
Yes.
And this is where Amadili comes in and
Enlightenment
says
and
he
so
can't.
on. Well, let me just allow him have this.
Yes, and like I said, there's so much to it that if you remember in the Babangida era, there was Jubril Aminu and his nomadic education policy, that if these herdsmen were educated as they went along, they'll be able to assimilate and get to understand things better, and they can be communicated with. Also, a whole department set up in the Federal Ministry of Education that took care of, or that trying to take care of the educational needs of the nomads. Be that as it may, where we are now, like somebody has said, that most of these headsmen, killer headsmen, may not necessarily be just Fulanis. Okay, if they're not Fulanis, they're likely then to be like what one of the defense people said, maybe ISIS. Wherever they are, these people are coming in through our porous borders. Wherever they are faces. If the United States could identify the jihadi John man, they could identify the head of the caliphate of the ISIS. We need high level of intelligence network to pick up who are the backers of these people and pin them down.
That's hardly difficult if we're going to be sincere
that's
to
why
know who the principals are of these herdsmen. But please let me bring in Benga and I'll come straight to you.
Okay.
Benga in Abuja, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Benga. We're waiting for you.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Yori and the guest there.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, you see, one of your guests saying that Mr. President have not spoken. The President has spoken severally, right from the time that the January 1st situation happened. He has sent the condolence and give directive to the appropriate agency. The people have not heard him speak because he not speak what they want him to do. They wanted him to send army to level everywhere in Benue and Taraba, kill aside any Fulani man you see. They wanted him to declare any Fulani man you see a terrorist. And that's why, because he has not done that, he has not spoken. He has spoken and has given directive and action.
Well, Benga, that is a bit hyperbolic. You know, maybe you're just exaggerating for emphasis.
It's not exaggerating. It was on radio. Declare them terrorists. How can IPOB be made terrorists and these people are killing? If IPOB kill anybody, it's where even elites, even political leaders, this is why they are so, that they are in insinuation. And because he has not done that, that's why they say people have not spoken.
All right.
The person has spoken and done it. It's a father. And this thing, they are both religious, ethnic, and political coloration into it. That made the matter very, very muddy.
Okay.
And father is settling down. It's now we say he's speaking. He has.
In other words, it's a complicated subject, you know. Sorry.
Yeah, so like I was saying, Yori, our intelligence community must go to work. It is possible. You are saying that
they can do a lot more than they are doing at the moment.
Yes, and the DSS should provide or serve as a lead agency. Okay, they can give us all the necessary information we need about this. Who are these guys infiltrating our territory? Where are they coming from? Who are those behind them? Where are they getting their weapons from? Who are those availing them while they are in our country? Availing them logistics, transport, accommodation, and even serving as guides as to which village to go burn down, and so on. And you know, who are those guys behind the arms, like I said? These are the sort of information we require from our intelligence community.
Indeed.
Indeed, and with the DSS availing leadership in that direction.
Indeed.
Not to just sit down and tell us these are ISIS men. No, I disagree.
Well, yeah, but the reports in the paper, let me quote a paragraph from what the president said. Quote, "Our law enforcement agencies must at all times stay ahead of bandits and criminals wherever they are across the country by efficiently gathering, sharing, and acting on credible intelligence. I am assuring that we will give them all the support needed to succeed."
Good.
So really, that paragraph encapsulates everything that you were wishing. Isa is in Kaduna. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, well done. Well, the issue of Nigerian security, I believe it is so crucial that to some extent we tend to forget some people that have the ability to play significant role in it. Now, if you are looking at the security system now, everything is going the way it has been before in the analog stage. We have a lot of young people that do have credible information. In fact, we are the youths. I am 27 years old. I have Masters in Strategy and Security Administration. I have a lot of people that are young and they have this. We sit down, we dialogue, we discuss on how to solve these issues. The problem here, if you are talking about technological advancement, how can we do it? Each state, what is their security votes? They have the ability to own, even if it is a single drone, that will provide aerial surveillance for them. We always talk about problems. Call the younger generation, sit them down, tap into their mental gallery, get what they have to understand. This is our own generational problem.
Yeah, but the president was not talking about problems. The president was talking about solutions. That, look, that there are solutions. And the president has said that these solutions will stand the test of time. We've gone from problem to solutions now.
Exactly, yes.
But thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call.
And that's where it's coming from. These solutions, can they really stand the test of time? How tested are they? I believe that they're going to do their best. Okay. But the question therefore is, if you don't know where the rain beats you, or you don't know where you're coming from, you cannot tell us where you're going. You must understand the significance of the attacks all over the country. Database shows how many people have been killed so far, and database shows how many people have been arrested so far, and we cannot move on from there. Yeah. Then any state commissioner of police that is so porous that headsmen come, call him to order. Let him give an account. Let them tighten themselves. Like I said,
that is, state is so porous that headsmen come in there.
And then they go away, they vanish into thin air.
I see.
With all the checkpoints on the expressway and everywhere. And that's why surveillance will have come in. If any state is
you guys were talking about.
If you remember when one state governor said recently, I am about to be attacked in 10 days' time. Did you read that? He even prophesied in advance that his state will be attacked in 10 days' time. They didn't rush the guy to say, look, where did you get information from? Let's not nip it in the bud. We can't wait for 10 days' time. We are going to stop them before they get to you.
Well, again, your perspective, and indeed, everybody, we're all entitled. We have freedom of speech and also of movement, these are part of the complications, because we can't just throw our laws out. This is the right of every Nigerian. But how we now address this whole problem without anybody feeling a sense of being excluded or anything like that, I suppose that's something of the challenge now.
Maybe we look at solving the problem.
Sorry, Kemi is in Ilorin and wants to contribute. Femi in Ilorin, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Femi.
Yeah. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Femi.
Good morning, Uncle.
Femi.
Good morning, sir. I answered you. Please go ahead.
Good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Please, my contribution is this Fulani estimate that people are calling. I want us to be very careful in putting blame on set of people that have not been confirmed as those behind the case, because we have not seen anyone arrested in the name of
Fulanis, you be very careful. Because these are people that have been with us for quite a long time. In my house, I have Fulani passing through my house, day in, day out, and I've not one day woke up and see dead body in front of my house. So I believe the security agency have much to do in this situation.
All right. Thank you very much. We're running out of time, so that's as much as we'll be able to take from your contribution, regretfully. Thank you very much.
Larry, I think we were talking about, while emphasizing the issue of solution, we should, as much as possible, be able to say something on enlightenment. There is a need for proper enlightenment. It's a sort of national enlightenment drive, okay? Sensitization.
That this is the state of the world now.
Good.
This is not centuries ago.
Thank you. And in doing this, I would like to prescribe that Mr. President becomes the poster boy, okay? When posters are made, because we see him there with his stick, letting his people know, look, the time has come for us to embrace closed grazing. What we used to do is no longer possible. That was in those days.
Okay.
We must allow change to take place. Modernity must come in.
All right.
When he comes out this way, I think, yes,
it will make a definite difference.
True. He should be holding his Fulani stick.
He himself being a cattle, you know.
Thank you, sir. Yes. He's into
what is it?
Cattle elite.
No, he's into cattle rearing.
Yes.
He's into cattle rearing.
So he's a rancher. Can we call him a rancher?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Why not? Because they are all in ranches.
Even if it's a modest.
They are in ranches.
Even if it's a modest ranch.
Yes.
Because
let me call it headsman.
there are people who are not the president who probably have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of heads of cattle.
Yes, of course.
But still, he is a headsman.
Maybe I put my take here also is that we should tighten our borders.
Yeah.
We should tighten our borders.
Sure.
We should know how many people we are in this country.
That's
and
why
we should identify Nigerians as distinct from Chadians.
They brought everybody concerned to the meeting, including Kwano.
Yes.
You know,
everybody should know who they are. And every local government, if a stranger comes in here, we should know they are a Nigerian or not a Nigerian. You came into this place. You should have your ID card.
Okay.
Everybody should be tracked in this country.
I'm sure they're listening. They've heard you, and they dare not sleep.
Then the movement of arms, small arms, small arms.
All right.
We should also monitor movement of small arms and be careful. Elections are coming. People should stop importing these things, and we should make sure unauthorized persons don't carry weapons.
Dr. Amadeli Boyo, Medical Director, Social Commentator. Thank you very much for your contributions this morning. And also Colonel Hassan Stanlabo, retired security consultant. Thank you very much as well for your perspectives. Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate your coming. Okay, so that's our program today. Join us tomorrow, please, for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.